Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to an amazing Saturday evening. I hope we are all well. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Ange. Hi, Lucy. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Belinda. Hope you're all okay. Thank you for joining us. Now, before we welcome our special guest of this evening, I would like us just to come in for the crystal connections of yesterday. Yesterday being Friday, so we connected, we carried, and we slept with this crystal. I know some of us have been doing bits and bobs of that throughout the week, but if any of you wish to comment how you felt yesterday, that would be great. And then today's connection, we'll talk about Monday before we go on to that topic on Monday. So hope everyone's had a nice day in the sun, being safe as always for the moment. And also, thank you all so much if you are on here for supporting us last night. All the invoices have been done and they have been sent out. And as soon as the majority of those are paid off, we will cleanse, wrap and pack and do our one daily trip to the post office. And also a bit of an apology. Last week we did go to the post office Wednesday, but they seem to have been on a bit of a slow-mo. Some of you are still waiting on parcels and some of them have received today. So if you are still waiting, we do apologize. We're sending that energy out there. So hi, Belinda. Hi, Anne. And I've had a word with Captain Biggles. There'll be no more Moldavite on an online live market. Okay. Even this afternoon, we had to go back onto that video just to see what piece was going out to who. And it was still giving me side effects. So no more high bling on that. So if anybody wants to come in with their connections, please do so. And make sure we've got ourselves a drink, making sure we've got ourselves in a nice, relaxing position and ready for our amazing guest this afternoon or this evening. Hey, Anne, I'm glad your crystals have arrived. Of colours, initially reds, purples, pinks, then a dove singing up in a tree. Beautiful, beautiful. Dove, the language of love. Dove reminds me of my grandma. We used to have a pair of collared doves, and we've got a pair of collared doves where we're living at the moment. And every time they call, I just think of my grandma's house and my grandparents, because they used to have them. And they're very much a match made in heaven, doves. You always see them in a pair. So it's a nice heart warming there. And you working with pink opal, beautiful little thing there. Lovely. That is great. And then just to also recap that Mondays, we are now going to be starting a little development with the Oracle cards. I need to get my butt back into doing them. So I'm calling upon you to help me out, and also for you guys to read on the cards as well. So that's what we're going to be doing on Monday. We'll only have one crystal for this week, which will be a Tuesday, because Thursday we've got the full moon solar eclipse or lunar eclipse, one or the other. So we'll be doing an altar for the full moon. We're going to be burning those intentions that we put in the bowls or we've put onto our own personal altars. On the new moon, we're now going to be burning them. We're going to be releasing those on Thursday. So I think it's Thursday or Friday. It's the full moon lunar eclipse, solar eclipse. It's one of those. Okay. Amanda. Well, I wasn't expecting to be buying the rope. I know. I was going to message you today, Amanda, because I know that you messaged me with your budget. Yes. Bless you. Oh, so I didn't finish the whole of Amanda's there. Sorry. She was cooking and watching the show, and the Raven made an appearance, and in a flash he said, "I need that." So the Raven must have really spoke to him. Oh, well, that's amazing. And also, this is how I got into getting more crystals. Is if it's the other half that's going, sweetheart, can we just put a budget on these crystals? Get them involved, and then they're going, I want that, and you're like, yeah, buy that, and then you're doubling your budget. You've got a budget, they've got a budget. Happy days. Get the kids involved, get the dog involved, you know, find ways of increasing that budget. It's amazing. It's brilliant. Thank you very much for watching me, and thank you for the hubby for getting the Raven. Very good. So Lucy, I connected with my green aventurine and I was flying above a lush, dense rainforest. No animals this time, just me flying free, happily enjoying the stunning surroundings. Sleep has been good with it. I've had dreams, but can't recall enough detail. That is brilliant. Beautiful, Lucy. And I think because we're coming to the end, today is your second day of connecting, carrying, and sleeping. And then tomorrow, Sunday, we have a day off from the crystal. So I think, you know, you had the animals, you had the water coming in. And I think now they're backing off and allowing you to freely just be you. They're just going, right, now it's to you. And that's you just being your true self with that. So that is a beautiful tying the ends to a wonderful week with green aventurine. So absolutely fantastic. And yeah, flying Peter Pan, green aventurine heart, but we've got the quartz, we've got that clarity up there. So fantastic. Yes, Ange, that was the Raven skull, the Raven carving. Oh, bless him. They're good, husbands are. They're very good. My husband treats me on my birthdays and every other day. And yeah, beautiful. Oh no, Anne. I hope the screen doesn't keep freezing. Sort it out. I hope no one else's is going. We need to work on this, Ange. We need to see what we need to do for your sleep. What we need to do for that. Okay, so it's coming up to 6:10. So if we're all happy and we're all done with our connections, so well done, fantastic and brilliant. And I know there's a few of you who still private message me yours, so that is absolutely fine. You're all on a good track. So Monday we'll be starting a new week. So if you want to carry on up the chakras, we're going to be doing a pink for the higher heart. But again, go to one that is calling to you, especially if you've been getting some newbies coming into your being. They'll be wanting to be working. So if you want to go on the chakras, we'll go for a pink crystal. If you did pink this week, go for green, but just go for what you want to. I know, Anne, you must be dying to get your paws on that Larimar skull. It's coming to you. It's coming to you, sweetheart. So yeah, that would be what we'll do for Mondays if you want to get ahead and plan for that. And we just connect on Monday. Just connect. But if it wants you to do other things, go with what the keeper, the spirit of the crystal, tells you what to do. So if we are all happy and we're all happy and refreshed, I would like to start introducing the special guest for this evening. We are delighted to have a very dear good friend of ours to come on and to give us a little chat about shamanism. But I will say, to begin with, this is a broad topic and there's no real set in stone for this. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask Helen. But this is more of, we can do an individual journey with shamanism. So we're going to listen to how this beautiful lady works and what shamanism entails. And we go from there. So if we're all happy, then please give a warm welcome to our lovely guest, Helen Chapman, who is down Cornwall area.
Hello.
How are you, sweetheart?
Very good, thank you. Good. I think the nerves have dissipated.
Good. Have you got a drink? Oh, that looks like it's is that something a little bit no.
Water.
Oh. Water looks so bland. Put a bit of fruit in it. It looks like a cocktail.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
I was on a meeting the other night and somebody actually turned around to me and said, "Oh, you're drinking gin at 10 o'clock in the morning." I said, "No, it's not gin. It's a pint of water with lemon and lime in it. But if it makes you feel good, yeah, why not?"
Absolutely. If that's what you think of me, then have that impression. So welcome to Dan ROX Box.
Thank you.
And so there are other strings to your bow, which we will look into at the end. But the one thing I would like to get into and provide the viewers of a knowing, because we've not had nobody come on before, is the shamanism and practicing the shamanic way.
Okay. So, I think, sorry.
So if you would like to introduce yourself and give us a bit of the shamanism.
Okay, my darling. Right. Well, my name's Helen. Like I said, I'm based down in beautiful Poole, which is between actually Redruth and Camborne in Cornwall. So we start really with, I mean, as Dan said, it is a huge topic, and it is very much about taking what means right to you and feels right within your soul and working with that. As a shamanic practitioner, I spent nearly 18 months under the tutelage of someone else. However, that gave me just my basis. I'm still learning. I'm always constantly learning. I don't feel that there's ever any time where you can turn around and say, I am what I am. It's a case of I am processing, I am going through. So the basis is that animism is the basis of shamanism. So animism is another way, believed to be the oldest belief system, that every single thing on this planet has a spirit or a consciousness. So every plant you see, every animal you see, every crystal, every rock, even if you see big granite rocks, I've been posting some stuff on Facebook of pictures I take locally, and I keep seeing faces in them. So it's seeing, it's the sky has spirits associated and attached, and it's learning to look at life at a more cyclical system, rather than I find with the white capitalist movement that we tend to be very linear. It's we're here, we're going to here. Doesn't matter, we're just going to keep forging our way forward no matter what. Where, you can see it with our food production, that now we can get strawberries in January, that, everything's force fed. We can get things from all around the world. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but we've lost our soul.
We've lost the seasons. We've lost and that's got to play a big impact in our intake, because our body need certain things at certain times of the year.
Yes.
So definitely. If we can get that all the year, then it's going to play havoc with us. So yeah.
So that's the basis of the belief system, and it's about being cyclical. You know, it's a case of the 4 seasons, the fact that the Earth takes a cycle around the sun, that the moon cycles around the Earth, and the Earth itself cycles around. And we also go through many processes of mini deaths throughout our lifetime. In the Tibetan tradition is the fact that a baby has to die from being a baby to become a toddler then dies and gives up its things to become a child, the child, etc., etc. So that's the basis of where shamanism lies. For me, I follow more the core shamanism path, which was kind of looked at by a guy called Michael Harner. Now, sadly, he passed away earlier this year. I think it was earlier this year or earlier last year. And he was an anthropologist, and he studied a lot of small indigenous communities and realized that they had this one link running through them all, that they were cyclical, that they did honor everything they had within their areas. Yes, I mean, I got told off because I put in a group that everything was shamanic, and actually it's not. I got a slap on the wrists from some indigenous Native Americans, bless them, because they have medicine people. It's a similar thing. Right. So I'm not going to cause any disrespect. I'm just going to speak from the heart and say how I feel shamanism works. So it's about being conscious of where you are, being conscious and in the moment of what you're seeing, what you're doing. You know, it's about asking and giving respect to everything around you. So if you pick a plant, you ask its permission first. Yeah. It's about waiting just that tiny second to say, please, and thank you afterwards, whether it's leaving a small gift. I mean, I normally carry a small pouch of tobacco or just anything really that I feel that I need to take along with me to leave behind. I don't like leaving big things or things that can't be reintegrated into the ground. So I don't tend to leave ribbons and things, because for me, they've got polyester in them. They don't decompose. It's more for the plant itself or the animal itself or whatever else to be able to ingest and reuse. So it's again being mindful of what you're doing and why you're doing it. The other beauty about shamanism, it's got its healing side as well. So for me, as you said, I've got many strings to my bow. My healing side is what comes through. So it's about healing, but it's also healing on a greater scale, that it's not just about me. It's not just about you. It's about trying to heal communities, trying to bring back the shamanic way of living. I said smaller indigenous communities, they all sat in circles. No one was above anybody else. We all were equal. We're all equal. We all have an input. So nowadays, like I said, in the Western world, we sort of like, oh, women were supposed to stay at home, look after this, do this, do this. But actually in a shamanic or indigenous culture, that would be respected as the person who brings through life and looks after and nurtures those spirits that are going to grow to do other things. The man was seen as a hunter-gatherer. It's just, I mean, I'm not saying that women can't go out and be hunter-gatherers and that men can't look after babies and all that. So it's just about mutual respect, understanding and non-judgment.
That's it. And understanding that, why do people look that staying at home is an easier job than somebody going out hunting and gathering? It's, you know, there are harder traits in both roles, and there are easier things in both roles, you know. And going back to the circle, and this is why when I do my workshops, I always sit in a circle with the people, and I open that circle. So I always have my talking stick, which is my red deer antler, and I pass that around, because for me, and you know, I've only just touched the surface of shamanism, that's what I liked. I'm an equal. I'm not the teacher. I'm sitting here with my fellow brothers and sisters, and we're exchanging. You know, they're giving me information. Like tonight, people are telling me about their crystal connections that I don't get with those crystals. I'm learning. So exactly, I really get that equalness.
And it's also about honoring everything. I mean, you know, sort of people say to me when they've done a journey or something, and it's kind of like, oh, where, you know, I've got an ant, or I've only got a worm, or I've got a wasp. But there are reasons why each and every animal has its purpose in life. Each and every plant has its purpose in life. And it's about tapping into that. It's about communication. It's about getting to grips with it and then using that to heal yourself or to heal others or the greater community. It's I think really it's for me, the shamanic path is very much about walking in two worlds. That's what they say, that they call a shaman a walker between the two worlds, the seen and the unseen. So the seen is the world we live in now, the physical. The unseen is obviously the spirits. And it's about just having that spiritual connection with everything that you work with. I'm not saying that everybody that comes along is a shaman. I would never call myself a shaman. I don't come from a line of shamans. I've been called by spirit, I feel, but I don't feel I've earned that title. Shamanic practitioner is the closest I will get. I'm still developing. I'm still learning. I don't think I'll ever stop. There's just so many different things from all different cultures. The only thing we've got to be very careful of when we're doing this is what I call cultural misappropriation.
Yeah.
So you take on and say, I'm a Native American medicine person. And it's kind of like, are you a Native Indigenous American person? No. Yes, it's using their resources, but I'm more about bringing it back to this country. I live in this country. I'm Celtic at the moment. Or I'm part Celtic. I'm Scottish, living in Cornwall. So yeah, I'm Celtic. So yes, I love white sage. I love the smell of it, but because of its popularity nowadays, it's being overpicked. The respect is being lost by some people. Yeah. I know I spoke to a native Canadian elder recently, and she said the sage in their areas is picked responsibly. She said there's certain trading posts that will basically only put a few pence on or a few cents on the price, because it's all about being equal and being sharing and all the rest of it. You don't have to make vast amounts of money from it. So yes, I agree. If it goes back to the populace, brilliant. If it's just for somebody making a load of money just to sort of like feather their own nest, it's not right. So I look at native stuff here that I can use. So I tend to burn a lot of mugwort, lavender, even our own sage. It's not got quite the same rich smell, but it's still something, because it's here. It's our heritage, and it's trying to reconnect, which I kind of feel that is important these days. We're trying to reconnect with our old spirituality. And as I said, there's no right and no wrong. This is just my personal perspective. And the way I teach, I do individual little workshops just to get people thinking about their shamanic process. And I say, well, I've given you some ideas, but at the end of the day, that's my mindset, my perspective. Take what I've given you. You can either discard some of it, or you can use it, or you can expand on it. And for me, I'd feel a good teacher like you are, like yourself, because like I said, I've obviously been to one of your beautiful workshops, is very much about saying, okay, this is what it means to me. However, what does this mean to you? It's like, I can tell you what a power animal means to me, but that's my personal experience of how I've worked with that power animal. How does it feel to you? Does it feel right to you? So I'm very much about empowering other people to make their personal choices.
That is it. It's about giving them that blank canvas.
Yes.
They come to this workshop, you present them with this blank canvas and go, this is what you got today.
Mm-hmm.
Now you put onto that what you want, and it is so important. And yeah, going back to your herbs, out in our front, we've currently, the juveniles at the moment, we've got the English sage and the lavender going. I do need to get hold of some mugwort though. I do need to get hold of that, because we are now started to get away from what America's using and really hone in on what is on this land and use it. Oh, what is this?
That's mugwort.
Is that mugwort?
That is mugwort. It's normally a vibrant green on the top of the leaf, and then under the leaf it's got like a lovely silvery look, and it comes out with about 4 foot long spikes around late June, July time, and these are the little flower stems. But yeah, try it.
And I want to smell it.
It's different, shall I say? Obviously being used to white sage, because it does have that really lovely pungent smell. Must admit, whenever I sage around the house with white sage, my children say, have you been stuffing the turkey again? Because it evokes that kind of smell.
I get Christmas dinner when I do sage.
Yes.
But it is about, for me, starting to alternate my senses to stop the Native Americans and start bringing in what this land would have been bringing in, and altering those senses of, right, okay. It's hard, because I've tried different incense and different smudgings, as soon as I light a bit of white sage, I'm home.
I don't feel there's
Beautiful.
anything wrong with appreciating another culture and using it respectfully, but there is this whole commercial aspect which I find hard, and realizing that actually we do have very good protective herbs and other stuff that we can use within our own landscapes. Yes, Native American tends to be a theme, and I kind of find as well this whole shamanic thing is going through a resurgence, if you like. It's almost like spirituality has cycles. And it's great to have the popularity, but it's realizing that actually it's quite a hard path to walk sometimes, because it really calls you to look at yourself. It's about acknowledging and seeing your dark side for what it is. It's part of you. Your anger is part of you. Your sadness, your grief is all part of you. And it's how you react, or act, should I say. It's acting instead of reacting. It's about understanding where those feelings come from, but also being comfortable with knowing that. I mean, I never realized until recently that I could actually be jealous. I always thought I was a very unjealous type. I had this jealousy thing going on about 6 years ago, and it really shook me, because I kind of thought, where did that come from? Why?
Yeah.
I now understand where it comes from. Has it stopped it? It's reduced it. But there are still times when I get that little pang, and it's kind of like it's realizing that A, none of us are perfect. B, we're all perfectly imperfect, because we're all here to experience this beautiful, human existence. But it's about respect and honor, and being just really in the moment and thoughtful about our processes and what we're doing. It's like the whole, do you have to be a vegan to be a shamanic practitioner? If you wish to be vegan, you can be vegan. I'm not saying that you can't. People say, well, how can you respect the animal? I mean, I remember being called out once at a show that I did. And they said, well, how can you honor the animal that you're eating if you're not a vegan? I said, because I still send prayers up. I'm conscious of where it comes from. Do I spend a little bit more and get better quality meat because I know it's been well looked after? Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not into mass producing. Do I eat less meat? Yes, I do. But it's all about that honoring and respecting and knowing how I feel. And again, no judgment. If somebody wants to be vegan, they want to be vegan. They have their reasons. Vegetarian, meat eating, whatever they need to do. I feel it's all about honor and respect. And if we can keep that, even down to picking plants, respect, honor, ask.
This is it, because there are people who go out there picking plants, using them, but then you've got to think, is there enough there, especially in early spring? Are you leaving enough there for the early pollinators? There are things that need to thrive on those plants. So yeah, I've had that same battle. People think you can't be spiritual because you eat meat, and I'm just like, that goes to show you're not spiritual, because you're judging. You're not.
Leave the judgment behind. I do what I do, you do what you do. As long as we're both being helpful and respectful to each other, that's the nurturing and support. And I always go by the law of foraging. The law of foraging says it's 8-2, which means you take 20% and leave 80%. However, I tend to go a little bit further and say I only do the 10%, 1 in 10. So it allows, because obviously if you're in a group that's foraging, that's 10% for all of you, not just you personally. Because obviously if there's 10 of you, you're not going to have any plant left. No. And also, I have actually come across it where I've asked the spirit of the plant whether or not I can take something, and they said no. And they're allowed to do that. That's part of their ally. It's part of their thing. And it's kind of like allowing to have that time to connect. And it's not just a case of going out, I want to go and get something. It's about taking time beforehand to establish a relationship with a particular plant. I normally find, for me, it's a case of walking around the countryside and something catches my eye. It's like, I wonder what that is. And then I will sit, I will have a look. I will then maybe read a few books on it, or I'll just sit and actually journey with the plant itself. And that for me is the basis of how I work. It's mutual respect and understanding all the way.
And it's just that fact of maybe you only want that plant. You don't actually need that plant. And yes, when you ask it and it says no, then it encourages you to go back inside yourself, meditate on that like a shamanic, and say, okay, why didn't I need that plant? What do I need instead of that? It's like tree cutting, we didn't just go out there and cut down the trees. we asked, may we, take some of your branches, may we, and it's all about, it is about asking, respecting, and not just looking at them as an inanimate object, just being like, yeah, that's mine, I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Especially the ratio. And I've seen it so much, especially over this time, because of being on lockdown, people have been going out. And I mean, I've never seen so many posts about wild garlic pesto. I mean, that is gone berserk. People are going out there picking the wild garlic. People are going out there picking all the elderflowers to make cordial and etc. But then it's like, please leave some for those that need it, because those flowers are going to turn into berries. So if the pollinators don't need it to pollinate, the berries will certainly come in handy to feed the birds, the badgers, the deer, whatever. So yeah, ratio is. Catherine. Hello, Catherine. So foraging has become a huge thing lately, and not enough of certain things are being left for nature. My hawthorn said no this year. You see, it is that.
Catherine actually was on my journey with me. We met through BB's crystal class, or crystal markets that she used to do. And funnily enough, we ended up on the same shamanic journey together, doing the same course together. And so we're kind of like soul sisters. So yeah, I totally get you, Catherine. It's brilliant to see you. And I'm so pleased you're doing well on your journey, my darling.
Absolutely. I will second that with Catherine, because we've known Catherine for a few years as well. And she was the one who got us introduced to Lucy, who we do the alpaca workshop with.
Right. Yes.
Yes. Bless. Catherine came onto ROX. So absolutely amazing news on your journey, sweetheart. Brilliant. Thank you for being here.
But so, yeah, I mean, sorry.
No, carry on.
I was just going to say, because I mean, obviously people will start saying, how do you connect with these plants? Well, I mean, there are different methods. Like you said, you can go internally, you can do a little meditation with it. Shamanically, we do what we call journeying, which is done to the beat of a drum or a rattle. As you practice and do more of it, you can take yourself off to the beat of the drum or the rattle, or you can buy a CD. Again, I do tend to recommend Michael Harner's CD, simply because it has the right stuff. But I've made all my own tools.
So is this the CD you sent us a picture of?
That is, yeah. It's Michael Harner. It's a drumming CD. He does do other ones with didgeridoo and stuff as well. So if you feel you want to listen to something a little bit different, then by all means, it's anything that's kind of like, indigenous, that's kind of like got a resonant beat that you can kind of like just let yourself go off to. That's the CD. So if anyone's interested in doing some drumming or listening to drumming for doing their own journey, the journeys, I think I'll go into a little bit more detail about them in a moment. But journeying is different to meditation. But there's a 15-minute and a 30-minute, and you've got solo and double drumming. So it gives you a little bit of leeway as to what you feel like you want to do. But it leads me nicely onto the tools of the trade. And for me, shamanic tools are something that hopefully you make yourself. I mean, if you have to buy them, that's fine. If you don't want to go out and make your own drum, that's fine. Personally, for me, on my journey, it was about making my own. I make rattles. And they're usually made with similar skins to what I make my drums from. I went to a couple in Polperro who sadly are no longer making the drums anymore, simply because I felt drawn to them. There are lots of different processes. There's lots of different ways in which you can connect. I know Wendy Winstanley, Ravenswell, makes drums, and she does it lovely. She does a journey beforehand to connect, to find out what sort of drum you want, what skin you feel drawn to, and also how you adorn it. I mean, it's all personal taste. Again, it's what you do and don't want to do. Some people paint their drums. I personally don't. I like the patination of the skin, if you like a skin. Again, for those that are vegan, there are the Remo drums. I think you had Moon Esther on. And she's obviously prefers the vegan drum. Vegan drums are brilliant because you can take them out in all weathers and they don't lose their tone. Whereas unfortunately with the skin, a little bit of moisture in the air and they get a bit more elastic and they sound a bit different. But mine, I've actually made 2 drums now. The first calling was to a red deer. The skin was soaked first. This one is actually single laced all the way through. So it's one long lace that is passed from one side of the drum to the other, right the way through. And again, how you decide to do the handle is totally up to you, as long as you can divide the number of staves into equal parts, because this is the mouthpiece of the drum. So obviously when you're tapping on the drum, this is where the energy comes out from.
Okay.
So you then skin, well, actually I spent a morning literally just sanding down the ash hoop that's on the inside. I don't know if you can see in there the ash hoop, because you get a nice fine head on the edge, which gives you the tautness of your drum. So you sand that down. Some people like to decorate inside there. Some people, like myself, I liked it quite plain. It was more for me to adorn as and when I needed. You then lace it all up, and you just go into, it's like a trance-like state, because you're there, you're pulling the thread, you're having to tighten it up. So you go round and round and round and tighten it up, and then you leave it to dry for several days. So now some people connect with their drum automatically. I think, like I said, when Wendy does hers, because you do an awful lot of work while you're actually making the drum, you can connect immediately. For me, it was more about taking my drum somewhere where I felt I wanted a connection. So for me, I got Calmbray Hill just up the road from me, and didn't find out until after I'd done this. It was a full moon. I decided to take it up on the full moon. My husband was there with a flashlight, mind the rocks. And I'm sitting there on the top of the rock banging my drum. So, and it's not a case of actually using the beater. It's about holding it in front of your heart with the mouthpiece towards you. So you're just there with your own heartbeat. And you will find it slowing, because you're starting to get into it, and you just wait until you feel there's that connection. And what I didn't realise was that the Mary Michael ley line that comes from Glastonbury down to St Michael's Mount actually bisects the place where I was sitting at the time I connected with this drum. Wow. So for me, it was an amazing thing. I've since adorned it with rook feathers, because I like rooks and I like ravens and all the corvids. And I made a beater to go with it. So this is the sound of the red deer. Which is the one that I use mainly for personal healings, especially if I'm doing things like power animal retrieval or soul retrieval, that sort of thing, because it's lighter, it's more portable, and it's easier for me to actually enter a trance-like state and still work. And I feel more connected to this because it's the one that I used through my own shamanic journeying when I was doing my training. But having said that,
just to say, because you were saying about it being, any moisture in the air, when we've been going to events and stuff and people have been drumming, if there's a fire and they've got animal hide drums, they go to the fire, and is that to dry it out, to taunt
it's to warm it up. It again, like I said, just take that little bit of moisture out of it. If you're not near a fire, I normally put mine inside my coat and hold it to my heart, because your body heat will also help warm it. It's not ideal, and it's not ideal to take it out if it's absolutely pouring with rain, because obviously you've got to respect the animal, respect the hide. But they won't go out of tune, because obviously when they dry, they tighten again. So it's I found another way of actually looking after a real hide drum was this. The red deer has actually been oiled, because it was getting a little bit too dry, so it was very tinny. So you get some good quality olive oil, warm a little in your hands, and you literally just caress your drum, every single part of it, with the olive oil. Leave as a little bit to soak. Obviously, you're not going to sort of like dunk it in a vat of olive oil, just enough to sort of have a sheen on the top. And then you leave it for a few hours. Just leave it for a few hours to soak in. Anything that's excess, you can wipe it off. It does mean then it's a little bit more waterproof. You can do the inside of the drum as well if you like. I haven't. I've left that so it's still got that little bit of a chance to give. Although with my horse drum, which again I made with the same people, I just had this calling. I had to have a bigger drum, and it had to be horse. Two totally different animals. For me, the deer is about gentleness. It's about grace. It's about standing in your own power and having a little bit of defense. Love the horns.
This is red deer antler.
Beautiful. I'm so jealous because I haven't got one. But that is really beautiful. But I also felt the need for horse. Now, horse is about strength, about freedom for me. It was about expressing myself. So I do have a rather large 18-inch horse drum.
Nice.
But the beater I've got with this one is coyote tail.
I was about to say, is that coyote? Love it.
So this, again, different drums, different beaters. Now this is one when I'm doing Reiki, which is another practice of mine. I normally tend to use at the start because it really brings people down into that deep meditative state. I've also started using this when I do workshops or I do, because like at you go to shows, they do little demonstrations. So I normally do a power animal meeting or power animal. And I normally find that one is the one that takes people down quicker. It takes them into the meditative state quicker and deeper. But yeah, again, it was a similar process. It was sort of like sitting there, sanding down the hoop, sitting with it. The thing I've noticed, though, that as they dry and as I work with them, different things appear. In the horse, I don't know if you can see it or not, but here, there's a white patch. And to me, it looks like a peacock. And it's the first time I was told that anyone had ever seen a peacock actually appear on, or a bird appear on a drum. A little bit more difficult to see is there's actually a leopard up here. Again, I don't know if it's easy to see. You just about make out the eye there. It's the white.
Oh, yes.
With the other one, because I've used it more for healing work, I've noticed a lot of symbols and patterns appearing. So again, the more you use them, the more you connect. You can be gifted them. I've been gifted a few drums from a dear friend, and I use them for different things. Again, it's very much personal choice. It's, if I don't feel like using my drums, I use another drum. It's about honoring the fact that there's the wooden hoop, there's the skin, it's connecting with that animal in very primal way, because how else are you going to do that? It's just that knowing. It's just that inner knowing and trusting yourself.
Because the process is called birthing your own drum. If you're not making, you're birthing. You're really combining your energy into that animal energy. Because the lady that I'm really fixed on making my drum with, she's just moved up to Scotland. It might be a good weekend away to go and birth.
Yeah, definitely.
But is it something you do now? Can you show people how to make their own drums?
I haven't yet. I'm looking into it. Obviously, it's the logistics of getting the hides, because obviously I need to make sure that it's ethically. I mean, in this country, we do still have deer, we do still have horses, and a lot of them skins do come from culls. And people say, oh, but it's a traumatic death. But when people cull a group of animals, they always take out the weakest, the eldest, the ones that aren't doing so well. So I look at it that it's a natural process, that basically if we had the bigger predators still in this country, they would have been taken out by them.
Absolutely. Exactly. Because what we're doing when we're taking away that weakness, we are strengthening that herd.
Yes.
Because they're no longer going to the beat of the weakest or the vulnerable. They're going to be a better herd. So absolutely. And if we did still have our apex predators there, I mean, I'm so glad that they are going to be introducing lynx into this country. A little bit concerned that they're choosing Scotland, because I don't want it to conflict with the wild Scottish cat up there. But we need these predators to come in to bring the balance back into this country. Absolutely.
And for me as well, I mean, where would the skins go? Because they basically just go to landfill and it's wasted. And for me, that, if anything, is a bigger loss, just because it could be. I mean, I know Wendy uses the term "her herd runs again," which I love, because it's a case of it's giving new life to that animal, and it's honoring the fact it had a life and the fact that it's still important and is meaningful. So yeah, I mean, I am looking to sort of, again, with the people in Polperro, they've obviously stopped doing it, but they've obviously got bits and pieces. It's just at the moment, COVID-wise, money's not brilliant, so it's a case of it'll come when it means to. But I mean, I kind of feel that yes, that will be a natural progression, and maybe I will do more of a deeper working with the animals that they're going to be working with, and maybe make it, like I said, a weekend workshop where you actually do a bit more journey work to actually discover what the animal is and where you need to be going with it.
That's my route. I want to birth my own drum. I want to, you got the Ash, who is it Ash in both the horse and the deer?
Yeah. Ash was something that I felt really cool to be with. It's a tree that I resonate with. Some of the other woods aren't actually that brilliant. Obviously softer woods are going to crack and warp or whatever else. So you need something like ash or oak or redwood, and again, for me, redwood, if we don't have redwood in this country, I prefer to use ash or oak. And it just happened to be that ash was the thing that I felt drawn to most.
Yeah, absolutely. That is brilliant. That is perfect. And so, and the rattles, you made the rattles yourself?
I make the rattles myself, yes. I use offcuts of hide that I've still got a piece of the hide left from the horse that I did, so I've made a few horse rattles. Again, it's quite a simple process. It's just soaking the hide. What I tend to do is I tend to make a batch of heads, so I have them all hanging off my washing line, and my husband's going, oh gosh, not again. Although having said that, I had a beautiful one there and it looked just like a snake head. He said, I don't know why. He said, I hate snakes. He said, but that head is drawing me. So I've actually made him, he actually has his own rattle now.
Yeah.
But I tried, everything that I do on these rattles is mine. It's, feathers that I've sourced locally, that I've actually found myself, cleaned, dried, wooden beads. I've actually done peyote beading on this one. And I also, funnily enough, had a little box of crystals that I had from when I was a child. I used to have my own little stone rolling tumbling kit. Always kept the little chips, wondered what I was ever going to do with them, handed them to my son, and then grabbed them back a couple of years ago because I actually use them on the rattles as well now. So everything for a reason, everything comes and you know why it's necessary. So yeah, I do make rattles. I do put them on my Facebook page that I have for my other business from time to time, or people can contact me direct for that sort of thing. Again, possibility of workshops in the future that somebody can come and make a rattle or make a drum and a rattle. It's, for me, it'll unfold as it needs to unfold at the moment, and it'll be what it will.
Absolutely. So now we've seen you with the drum.
Yep.
And you did mention before with the CD that there is a difference between journeying and meditation.
Definitely. Okay, so in meditation, you normally either a guided meditation, or if you're an adept at it, you'll go off on your own, or sometimes you'll do transcendental meditation, which is just clearing the mind and just sitting in the silence. Journeying is different in as much as you're still going into like a trance-like meditative state. However, again, with the shamanic idea is that there's a world tree. So you've got an upper world, a middle world, and a lower world. Now, my belief is that the lower world is where we meet with our ancestors, our power animals, and guides on a day-to-day basis, if you like. The middle world is the here and now, and we do certain types of healing within the middle world. And then the higher world is where you go for your higher beings, your extraterrestrials, if you meet up with them, whoever you believe it's your higher self, it's your higher knowledge and higher guides. So when you journey, you have to go in with an intent. So you say, I'm journeying to, and you name your world. So I'll say, for example, I'm journeying to the lower world to meet with my power animal to receive guidance. You have to have a specific intent of why you want to go in. It can be just literally you're going in for a chit chat with them or whatever else, but you still have to state that intent. Mm-hmm. Normally we wrap ourselves up in a nice blanket, we cover our eyes so it's nice and dark, because the idea is to try and reduce as much as the outside sensory goings on, and you go in repeating that to yourself mantra like 3 times at least, saying I'm journeying to the lower world to meet with. And then you go off to the beat of the drum and you just let your imagination or your connection or however you want to perceive it, and just feel what comes through. The drum then changes a beat, which is your signal to say thank you and to come back. And then it'll have another beat to bring you back into waking consciousness. So that's why I always say to people, if you're going to start journeying, that's why I suggested the CD, because it has what we call the break beat and also the bringing back beat. It can be very easy to become lost in those worlds and not want to come out. Journeying is, like I said, 15, 30 minutes. The more you practice, the longer you can go for, but it's about knowing when to come back. So like I said, you've got specific intents and where you want to go. The idea is to clear your mind and always have a journal beside you. So when you've finished, you write everything that you can remember down. When I do my work, my demonstrations, I sort of say to people, I say, leave your mind behind. You can see anything and everything. You can see gnomes and goblins. You can see dragons, dinosaurs. Anything that you believe in will show up in your journey. And it's about journaling and seeing how it relates to you. You may not necessarily know what it means straight away, but it may take time. I mean, Google, I think, is a brilliant thing because you can Google half a dozen different interpretations, but you can see what fits for you. And that's the important part. That's why I find it empowering. It's about finding out what you need from that particular animal or whatever it is you see. A lot of journeying will say that if you're looking for a particular power animal, you want to get to know your power animal, it has to show itself to you 3 times. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be a stag and it's going to bounce out, it's a full stag every time. It may be a fact that you'll catch a glimpse of a stag in the distance. You may then see a close-up of its eye. You might see a hoof, but you will know it's a stag. That then normally indicates that that animal wants to work with you. The other important thing I find is when you're in the journey, ask. You know, we're always told, you know, we've got guardian angels, we've got, you know, our guides behind us, but they cannot interfere with us unless we ask for their help. So if you're in your journey and you're not sure, ask. Or if you come out of the journey and think, well, it wasn't it, do another journey, in a few days' time, and ask. Ask, always question. There are times, I said, shamanically, that spirits can be a bit tricksy and they might tell you a few, I wouldn't say out and out lies, but they will misdirect you in order for you to try and learn your own inner compass so that you start to guide your own intuition more rather than what everybody else is telling you it should be and shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's important to make sure that you have the right. I mean, if you like, I can give you a very swift demonstration on what sort of beats to expect if you're looking to do a journey with that.
Shall we have a little demo? Shall we?
It'd be a very short one.
Before we go into this,
yes,
could you just explain? Because we get called spirit animals, we get called power animals, we get totem animals.
Right.
Are they the same thing? Are they different?
For me personally, this is the whole personal thing. Totem animals are believed to be the spirits of animals that are with you from birth. So it's normally an animal you're very drawn to. I mean, for me, it's been wolves, but I also get very drawn to things like the porpoises, like orcas and dolphins. I also know that I also have a condor and an eagle as my totems because they're always with me 9 times out of 10 if I go on a journey. And again, when I say about going up to the different worlds, these spirits can intermingle. If they feel that they want to be with you, you could go up to the upper world, but your wolf spirit will come with you because they're there to guide and help, obviously. So for me, totem animals are animals that you're born with. It's ones that you resonate with most. Spirit animals and power animals. Power animals are animals that come into your life, I feel, for a reason, a purpose, a season, whatever. It can be, I mean, I work with fox energy sometimes, especially if I'm starting to do new projects or I'm trying to kind of weave my way into things. And it's very much about trust, fox, for me. Sometimes, I mean, just recently I've seen a lot of deer around, so I kind of feel that I'm working with that kind of energy at the moment. And it's just noticing those things around you. I mean, I think there's a brilliant meme on Facebook that it's 2 meerkats and one goes, I've seen a human, and one says, what does that mean shamanically? And it's kind of like, no, not every animal you see is going to be a shamanic totem. Again, ask. I mean, I can give you a couple of examples. I felt, like I said, a couple of years ago, I was going to be working with fox energy. I just felt it in my bones. So I said to Spirit, I said, right, you want me to work with fox? Show me fox. 2 days later, it was Boxing Day morning. I'm out on a piece of ground that's normally quite well used, and there's this big dog fox trotting around. I'm thinking, okay. No. Did I sit with that? No. I said, I want more proof. Took another walk 2 days later. I'm walking the dog. Dog stops. Quiet. It's a road. It's normally quite a busy road. It's quite quiet for that particular morning. 2 foxes raced out from this field, playing in front, and one looked at me, and I'm thinking, okay. I need a third. You know, you say 3 times. You want? I made technically 3 times. So I came home, switched on Facebook, and somebody called Fox in a intuitive drawing group that I'm in had posted a picture of a fox. So I kind of thought, okay, I've been battered around the heads with a wet fish. Yeah. I'm working with fox now. So
you've had the signs.
It's about asking, and it's about believing. I mean, yes, you might want to work with all the big totem animals, but sometimes, like I said, you might get an ant or a bee. It's about appreciating each animal for its own individual little things. But it might be a bee comes into your life because you're being too busy, or maybe you're not being busy enough, or you're not being productive enough. There's good and bad with each animal. Like I said, obviously, sometimes there's lessons to be learned, and it's not just about all the nice power and it's going to make me feel like this. It's about learning to work with the trust, with fox and stuff like that. For me, it was about learning to work with that fiery energy, which actually, being an earth person, I'm kind of quite slow and steady, and it's kind of like fox is kind of like, yeah, come on, let's get going. So it's about realizing that you can integrate those bits into your life at any time that they appear to you, but it's just being aware of it. And again, you can journey on it. If you feel that you want to bring a particular animal into your life, or you feel that you're losing power, because a lot of people get very tired and they kind of wonder, oh, I've lost my mojo, I've lost this or whatever. It normally means that you haven't looked at your power animal. You haven't brought your power animal to life with you.
No.
Ooh, question.
Sandra, do butterflies and dragonflies count towards spirit and totem guides? Thank you.
100%. Everything is a guide. You can have plant allies, you can have animal. Dragonfly, for me, and again, this is for me, but I would say Google spirit animals as guides and put in dragonfly. Read 5 or 6 different things about it and pick out what it means to you. But for me, dragonfly is about acceptance and about being able to change, because they've lived for such short lives that it's very quick. It's about moving forward. It's about change. It's about adjustment. It's about that sort of thing. That's what it means to me. Again, have a good Google. I mean, like I said, Google's amazing because you can bring up so many different resources. I do have a few books by Ted Andrews, which were very good to start with. But again, it was his perspective on that specific animal or things that he'd learned from other people. It's about bringing it all together, about what you need to know and what you need to utilize at that time. So yes, anything. I mean, I've worked with nettle as an ally. So plants, again.
They can come in.
Exactly. It's about being aware of what you might need at that. And again, like you said, what you need, not what you want. So yes, everybody likes to have a wolf or a bear or a fox or a rabbit or whatever else, but it's being good with what you've got. I mean, even a lowly worm, without worms, we don't have that beautiful, rich soil to be able to grow things in. They process stuff. So it's about being aware that everything under the sun and the sun itself has a purpose, and it's acknowledging that purpose and loving that purpose and letting it guide you, basically.
Fantastic. Shall we have it
will be very brief, won't it? I can't do a full journey with you, but I can show you how. I wish. I mean, I normally allow at least sort of 15-20 minutes. So I don't think we quite got that time, have we? So if you're going to do a journey, it normally starts off with quite a regular, normally quite fast. I've got a reverberation in the house, so it's probably because my drum is drumming. So that's the sort of beat that you'll go down into your journey with and will accompany you through the whole journey. Then when your time is up, and like I said, as in Michael Harner's, it'll be that's called the callback. That's the sound that you'll hear that your psyche automatically recognizes as the time for you to say thank you to your helpers. And with journeying, you access the tree. If you're going into a lower world journey, you access down. So that's however you perceive down, whether it's through a rabbit hole, through a hole in the wall, whether it's going into a pond and diving in, it's downwards. You will then follow your journey wherever it takes you. So when you get the breakbeat, you've had the breakbeat, and then you'll get a very rapid, which is you retracing your steps all the way back through your journey and coming back out where you started from. So it's always important, I find, with journeying, to find a place that you recognize in your own surrounding area as your entry and exit point. If you're doing an upper world journey, we say you go upwards. So you could find a tree, you could climb a hill, a mountain. I mean, for me, I normally use Calm Bray, or I know a few good trees that I like, and I'll find myself climbing up them. I normally get taken off by my eagle or by condor, whoever happens to be around, or sometimes I just get literally lifted up. And taken up to wherever I need to go. So yeah, it's such a broad topic. This I could go on forever and all night, but hey, I don't want to bore everybody, but it's, for me, it's an exciting life to lead because it makes you open your eyes. It makes you more aware. I mean, just my daily meditative practice, we do something what we call mindful walking. It's normally done in a labyrinth. I think most people have seen labyrinths in different places. It's a very old, ancient way of connecting. And you walk mindfully, basically just placing one foot in front of the other and just noticing and feeling the sensations. For me, I take my dog out. I can be out for up to 2 hours, but I'm in the moment. I have my phone with me. I have it on, but I will not answer it. I cannot stand being interrupted. If I can, I try and switch it off, but my husband gets a bit narky. It's kind of like, you got a phone? Why didn't you answer? My time. My time.
I have a work phone. That's the only mobile I have, is my work phone. I've not had a personal mobile phone for 5 years.
Good for you.
Because for that same reason, I love to connect with nature. I love to be out and, go into my own thoughts and do something. And it's annoying that wherever I am, someone can get on with it and make that annoying thing go, like, no.
I also find with the mindful walking is, if you've got a particular problem that you're trying to face, it's about asking before you set off on your journey for signs. So I could be walking around and all of a sudden a thought will pop into my head and it's like, oh, that makes sense. That is relevant to my situation. How can I incorporate that? Or I'll see a specific animal. So, I mean, the other day, it was 3 kites. It was literally one came up, then another, and then another. And I was just like in heaven. It was just like that total connection. And yeah, it's just that knowing. And like I said, for those that are just starting, it's very easy to get overexcited about seeing every single little thing you see. And is that a totem animal or whatever? It's about just actually relaxing into it and allowing your own intuition to tell you whether it is or whether it isn't. Like I said, I could expound on anybody's power animal all day long, but it's what it means to me and not necessarily what it means to them. It's about self-discovery, about empowerment of other people to be able to make their own choices. I mean, again, the shamanic path is about divination. So we do different ways of connecting to spirit for people. So, tarot reading, that sort of thing. I mean, again, that's part of my pathway, but it's all ways of connecting to spirit and to be able to help other people to find themselves again. And for me, that is the most important thing. It's about nurturing and realizing, like I said, my catchphrases are, we're all perfectly imperfect. We have a perfect soul. It's this mindset and this meat suit that differs. And it's, how we see our perspectives, and it's about being non-judgmental, and it's about nurturing and developing what's right for that individual rather than what we think is right for that individual.
That is it. It is. And this is why, for me, I've really enjoyed and wanted you to come on, because with shamanism, it's not a religion.
No.
And it's just taking what resonates with you and incorporate it into your daily routine. You don't have to sacrifice anything. You don't have to give up anything. It's what time you've got, you can fit shamanism into that bit, and you can do that. You don't have to do something every Monday or everything. It fits into you, and then
it becomes a way of life.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I do. I do have an altar. I mean, I've done a makeshift one because we're here today with some of my key things. I mean, you probably can't see it because there's a shelf in my kitchen, but I have owl, I have hare, and I have wolf. I also have some of the wings that I've cured and dried myself from birds that I found on my travels.
Yes.
I have magpie up there. I also have jay, and I also have rook, and I have a large eagle feather. It's Stella sea eagle, the largest eagle.
Wow. All right. You've top trumped me with my golden eagle feather.
I also have a golden eagle feather.
See you later. Not got time.
Well, it just happened actually. I was at a county fair, and we were in one of the tents selling stuff, and there was a guy there flying his birds of prey, and I got chatting to him, and he said, well, normally, he said, if the feathers drop, I give them to the kids, but he said, I get fed up finding them broken around the ring. And again, another beautiful story. I was watching his display, the last one of the year, and this Stella sea eagle took off, and it came round and flew over my head. Every time he sent a bird off, no matter which direction it went, it flew back over my head. So he was about to put the female back to get the male out, and she dropped a feather, and he dropped everything in front of everybody. Once he put the eagle back, he went over, picked up the feather, and he saw me in the crowd and came straight over and gave it to me and said, "This is for you." And I just thought, oh.
Yes, that is true. Esther from Moon Kestrel, she's on. She has just reminded me that I have got a condor feather. Because
You've trumped me again.
Have I? Yeah.
Yeah,
because Esther, she represented air because she's a Gemini. She represented air element in our wedding, and she brought the condor feather to represent air and gifted it to us at the end. So it's with all my eagle feathers, which is beautiful. So absolutely. Is there any questions from you guys about anything that we have spoken about? Please do ask. And you said at the demos at the fairs and stuff, you do power animal journeyings.
Yes, I do.
And so is this something that people, once we're out and about, is this something that people can contact you with and you can help them with?
I can certainly help and guide them with it, yes. Because like I said, and everyone says, oh well, you know, I mean, I work with a lot of mediums and stuff as well, and it's always, oh well, I don't see things, I don't visualize things, because being shamanic is quite visual, or at least in the mindset. So I say, let go of any expectations of what you're going to see. You may only see tiny little bits, but again, this is why you come out of your journey in silence. You have a pad and pen by wherever you're lying, and you write it all down, because it will suddenly start to click and make sense. The more journey you do, the better it gets. I mean, again, I did it for a group of mediums, and they said, oh, can you come along? We want to learn about this shamanic journeying stuff. So I said, okay, yeah, I'll come do an evening with you. And one guy, he did his first journey, and he said, I didn't get anything. He said, I got some words from my guide. He said, but I couldn't tell you what it was or how it was. Well, I kind of tuned in, and I kind of knew, but I wasn't going to say anything to him. So I said, right. I said, you think you're only going to hear things because you say you're clairaudient. I said, you have all your senses. Just because that's the one that you predominantly use for mediumship doesn't mean it's the only sense you've got. I said, let it go. I said, let go of any expectations whatsoever. I said, clear your mind, just go with it. Second journey he did, wow, he said it was Technicolor. He was in the jungle. He saw a black jaguar, which I knew he was working with. And it was just like, you just got to suspend your disbelief. Like I said, yes, it could be dragonflies, it could be a dragon, it could be anything. Yeah. If you believe in it, it's there. I mean, I always think that, you know, why do we know about these things like dragons and griffins and all that sort of thing? Our imagination is connected to source. So if we can imagine it, source has it. Absolutely. And it's about, again, connecting with how it means to you in here.
Absolutely. I think when this is all over and done with, would you come to Exeter and do a workshop on power animals?
I would more than happily do that for you.
Yeah. If it's 2 days, we certainly have accommodation here for you to stop.
Bless
Absolutely.
You.
But yeah, and also, I mean, at the end there, you mentioned you did this for a group of mediumships. Mm-hmm. Now, let's talk a bit about what else you do, because you do a couple of strings.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like a jack of all trades, but for me,
no, you're not.
My path has been very much, I think, one of remembering. I kind of feel a lot of this has been past life, and it's about me collating and bringing it all together into what it means to me specifically. So yes, I'm a Reiki master teacher. That was kind of where I started, although it was kicking and screaming because I didn't believe in Reiki as such. So yeah, now I'm here extolling the virtues of Reiki, which is amazing, because for me it's energy. It's about energy. The shamanic healing is about energy. So again, like I said, I'm a healer. And again, I go by what my guides tell me you need, rather than what, I mean, somebody will come to me, I need a soul retrieval. Actually, I commune with my guides. I go with what they tell me you need. You may need a power animal brought back. You may need an extraction done first before the soul retrieval. I'm also a psychic medium. So yeah, I'm developing that, bringing people's loved ones through, which is very rewarding. And I just love being in that energy.
Didn't you just do one and you were in front of 250 people?
Yes, I've been doing little ones in groups of sort of like 15 or 20, again, as a little group thing. And then I got approached by somebody who was doing a spiritual weekend in Torquay, and he said, I believe you're a bit of a medium, because he knew I was doing tarot reading. I said, right. I thought, how did you know? He said, yes. He said, you can do a dem. I said, okay, how many people? Oh, about 250. But like before coming on here, I mean, you wouldn't have believed that I was sitting here going, oh God, nips the loo 3 times, because it's going, oh God, I've got to go for a wee again. When they're going to start? No. But it's trusting in spirit, and yes, it went really well, and I was absolutely blown away myself by the evidence I was giving, and it was, yeah. So that's something else I really enjoy doing. I do tarot readings, which is the more the psychic side, which, yeah, I've had a lot of good feedback with that. And I just like, again, and it's an empowerment tool. It's not about keeping people in fear and saying, oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. It's more a case of, right, this is going to happen, but how can you prepare for it? How can we go through this with you? How can we help you resolve the issues that it's showing? I also did a course on soul doulaing, which is end of life holistic care. So I'm trained in helping people, and it doesn't always have to be the spiritual side of stuff. It's very much about the practical side, about what can and can't be done. Trying to express the person who's leaving the earth plane's wishes to those around them, because sometimes it's very difficult because there's barriers between them, or they don't want to say it because they don't want to offend anybody. But trying to make the experience as easy for everybody concerned. Yes, it brings the spiritual stuff in if they want that, but again, I have to be respectful, because certain faiths won't allow it. Some people don't believe in it, so I have to again go. But again, it all ties in, because obviously the shamanic side of stuff, you do psychopomp work, which is about escorting other souls over into the other realms. So yeah, for me, it's all about interweaving, intermeshing. So it's, yeah, just where I'm going next, who knows? Hey,
who knows? Absolutely. And also, I mean, do you know what? There are so many, and I hope the lady doesn't mind me saying this, but you blend so well with Esther. It is so weird. It's like, whoa, you know, and because also you do biography.
And it's because of Esther that I started, actually, because well, I'd seen her beautiful yantras, but not having lots of money, I couldn't afford to ask her to make one for me. So she did a competition a few years back. It was a special anniversary or something, and I thought, I'm going to win a yantra. I want one. I didn't win it. So it's kind of like, okay. So I was making runes at the time, and I went to go and see a wood turner friend of mine about how to dry some wood out. And I got talking about all this stuff that I was doing, and I'd heard about pyrography, and I'd seen this yantra stuff. He said, right, come into my woodshed. I thought, okay, nothing dodgy going on here. Bless him, good friend. And he actually gifted me a piece of bird oak, which for a wood turner is like gold dust, and a piece of spalted beech. And I still have those yantras up in my main altar in my bedroom, which I put, I did the circle of life on the seed of life, but the bigger one on one, and on the other one I did Metatron's cube. So I do my crystal gridding and stuff there as well. It's part of my altar space. And then I started doing little boxes. I started off literally with the tarot box, placed it on, put them online, said, look what I've been doing. And the thing was that the wood turner guy lent me his pyrograph machine and said, you can return it when you've made enough money to get your own. And I'm thinking, I only want to make a box and a yantra. Oh. So I start connecting with animals. I have actually got a couple of pieces here, so this is the sort of thing I do. Not just tea light holders. I do boxes and stuff, but that's an eagle owl. And then you have a seahorse.
Oh, wow. Oh, I love the seahorse.
And the thing I like about the wood is that I get it from a tree surgeon, very much like Esther. I know a tree surgeon who likes to upcycle his wood. So he does do a lot of work for wood turners and people like that. But he also provides me with long planks of wood that I can then cut into tea light holders or make yantras. I mean, I don't do it to Esther standard because I think her stuff is absolutely out of this world. I just love the energy that she puts into hers. But I also do pet portraits and stuff. So
yeah, but it's very similar. I think when this is all over and when Esther comes to see us and we kidnap her for 2 weeks, with Dobby, of course, and Mr. Moon, I think we need to all meet up and do some work together. I just think that there is a nice collaboration here.
I would like to meet Esther.
Yeah, I think
I
feel like Cinnabon. Well, maybe Davina McCall now, because Cinnabon. I feel like I'm doing a surprise here and bringing people together.
We actually purchased one of Moon's crystal dragons. Is a sardonyx crystal dragon that she had, and that was my first ever dragon that I bought, crystalline dragon that I bought. So again, connections. It's
why we love being in this circle, and this is why we love doing this, because the shoe holes that the laces go through, it's amazing on these connections and everything like that. And yeah, I mean, is there any questions at all? Steph Nash, she has said that she's validated you by saying that you are a fab medium.
Bless her heart. Yes, thank you, Steph. I love you lots. I'll pay you later. No, Steph and I have been in several mediumship workshops together, and she only lives down the road in Hale from me. So lovely to see you on here, Steph.
Oh, and there was a book you sent us a picture of, wasn't there?
If someone wants to do some really basic reading into the idea of core shamanism, which is, like I said, what I started with, it's Michael Harner's The Way of the Shaman. This, for me, was a book that was recommended that I read. It just gives you a broad outlook of how he started his shamanic community and how he went from the anthropology into the shamanic beliefs. So I always think it's a good place to start again, but I just say read up what you feel. I mean, like I said, there could be Mongolian shamanism you like to read about. It could be that you want to go into the medicine wheel and the Native American spirituality. So things like Black Elk Speaks is another. Silver Birch, I think, is another great Native American exponent of blessings and things, because a lot of the traditions were orally handed down. So obviously there's not an awful lot of stuff that's actually been written down, but yeah, go to where you feel drawn to, whichever part of the world. I've had Mongolian, because obviously shamans are in Mongolia, South America, and it's just, yeah, go to where you feel called, again, with respect and knowing.
Because am I right in saying that those in Africa, they'll be called witch doctors?
Yeah, if you're, I mean, it's like Africa is witch doctors. Basically, they're the medicine people, they're the healers, but they're also the wise people. In Native America, they're obviously medicine men and women, and you've also got your wise ones. So it's almost like a combined but different. The Inuits have shaman. The Native Canadians have medicine people, elders. The South Americans are shaman. You're looking at shamans through Norway, Mongolia. You can even get them as far east as India. Then you've also got Tibet. They have shamans there. And then you go somewhere like Australia and New Zealand, and they're more like the dream timers. They're sort of like people that, again, access the similar sorts of information in a similar sort of way. Again, there's always key bits that are different. I mean, if people want to have different books from different areas, I can recommend different things. So by all means, contact me and ask, and I can sort of supply you with a list. A guy that I follow on Facebook is Nick Breezewood. He's one of the eminent shamanic people. He writes the Sacred Hoop magazine. So he's normally got a wealth of information about, what's truly shamanic, because obviously, like everything, it comes with a popularity, and so people zhuzh it up a bit, and it's kind of like, but it's actually, it's very basic, it's very core, it's very laid bare. It's not a case of having, it's like people say, oh, I'm a witch, but I've got to have this wand, I've got to have that. Well, I look at it and say, well, I've got a wand. Where do I direct my intent? I point with my finger first. Yes, if I want to add an extension onto it, brilliant. But people seem to sort of have to say, oh, have I got to have a fur? Have I got to have this? No, it'll come as and when you need it. So work with what you have. You don't have to have a drum immediately.
No.
It's all about what's in here and your intent and your focus and your respect and honor. And that's, for me, the most important part of it all.
That is amazing. Thank you so much. We've kept you a little bit longer than normal, but it's been absolutely amazing and just really reaffirmed in me where I'm going with my life.
Awesome.
I've always had that little twinkle towards shamanism, and it's just, yeah, it sits right with me.
I haven't bored anyone too much, because I can go on a bit.
Yeah. So Sandra, she's just asked, Steph Nash is still with us, and she said, I always see Helen as a wise woman. She has a lot to teach. I second that, absolutely. And then Sandra James, I don't think you are a douchebag, sweetheart, but
oh, no.
How would one know if they are a psychic medium? Does it start off with hearing voices, not in a cuckoo way? Thank you.
I think it is an inner knowing, and it's knowing that the thoughts and things, like I said, without sounding cuckoo, because like I said, obviously, if you're in a psychotic episode, you'll hear voices and whatever, but it's hearing things from sources that you can't necessarily recognize immediately. If you're feeling that you're getting these voices coming through, I would suggest going to, personally, I don't ascribe to spiritualist churches. However, they do have the biggest circles for people who are developing and learning. So it's about finding someone to mentor you, about finding someone that can help you develop, to make sure that what you're getting is what you're seeing. Sometimes it can be just your guide speaking to yourself. Because we all work on different levels and different ways, I kind of tend to say I'm more clairsentient, so I feel an awful lot. I'm highly empathic, so I can tend to feel. But there's so many different varying degrees. There's objective, subjective. Objective means you literally feel it within yourself. And if I'm bringing through someone who's passed over with a chest complaint, I normally get very tight-chested, so I have to ask them to step back. Subjective means you get an idea, you get a feeling within your body. It's the same with the visual, whether you're hearing voices. There is so much to it, but yes, if you're hearing voices and stuff and it's worrying you, you can ask them to step back. That's another thing, because a lot of people say, oh, these voices are whittering on in my ears and it's worrying me, it's keeping me awake at night. You have the ultimate power. You can tell them, no, not now. You can shut the door. You open the door, you shut the door.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very big believer that actually, when I'm working with spirit, I turn around and say to them, I'm ready to work with you now. And I give them full permission to do whatever needs to come through. When I finish working, I don't tend to switch off, because I like the connection. But a lot of people will say, I'm now shutting the door. I am now no longer working. But I think my guides also know that when I sleep, I sleep. No one's going to come in and start telling me and start sitting on the end of my bed, chattering away to me. So I would say get yourself along to a local spiritualist church or anywhere where you can do some psychic development first, because everyone's psychic, but not everyone's a medium.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about developing that psychic muscle. The more you exercise it, the better and stronger it gets. That then helps you differentiate as to whether or not it's your guides talking to you on a psychic level, or whether it's your mediumship coming through and there are other people trying to come through to give you messages. So find yourself a development group in your local area. There's normally some. It's just look for spiritualist churches. Like I said, I don't hold with churches personally because I'm not a religious person, but it is a very good place to start and to learn in safety. I hope that answers your question.
I think it did, and some. Thank you so much, Helen.
You're welcome, my darling.
And if anyone has got any further questions, wanting to pick this beautiful lady's brains, like a Corvid, then please do link up via Facebook and let her know, and she will help you out
of course
as much as she can. So yes, I will allow you to go off to enjoy the rest of your Saturday. But thank you so much. It's been
thank you so much for having me, and thank you to Adam up in the control room there, dear Irvin. He's doing a fab job.
He is doing a fab job. Thank you so much. I'll let you go back into the waiting room, and then you can disappear, and I'll message you later on just to say thank you once again. So see you very soon, hopefully.
Oh, my darling.
Hopefully.
Love you, love. Love.
Love to the family as well.
And to you.
Take care.
Bye now.
I think is he there? Or shall I do it? Oh no, you have. Okay. Thank you so much for I know, Esther, yes. Captain Biggles, Big Ols. So thank you so much for coming on and supporting Helen. She is somebody who we've known and have taken into our hearts. She's an absolute diamond. So yeah, like I said, shamanism is such a big topic. So if you want to, if it was something that triggered a spark in you and you think, I would like to follow that a bit more, please do link in with Helen and get in touch with her. And she'll give as much advice to see you on that path in life. So tomorrow is our day off. We will see you on Monday. So Monday, I would like to hear a summary or today's connection just to tie that week off. Starting a fresh week with a crystal. We're just going to connect with that. And it's down to you whether you want to go with the pink to honor the higher heart, if we're going to the chakra levels, or any crystal that's speaking to you. We'll just connect. And then we'll do our little development circle, see how that goes with the oracle cards. It's going to be a laugh. I know it is. Tuesday will be a crystal related topic. Wednesday, we've got the amazing Carolyn Biggs, who is on board at the moment. She's coming on to talk about her connection with her lovely reptiles and how that works in her life with meditations. Thursday, we're going to be doing a live altar because we've got the full moon and solar lunar eclipse. I can't remember which one it is. Esther, if you're still on, is it a solar or a lunar eclipse? So we're going to be doing that. And then Friday is our market. And Saturday, we've got Patrick Gamble coming on board. So an amazing, fun, packed week. So we'll be all on at 6 o'clock, apart from the market, which is 5 o'clock on a Friday. Hope you had a good evening. Enjoy the rest of it. See you on Monday. Have a good day off tomorrow. Leave the crystals alone. Just be you. Enjoy. And I'll see you all Monday. Thank you very much. Beam me up, Biggles.